primarily with a lot of bond clients in my journey in this career, and what I've noticed was, you've got the main breadwinner there, the guy that's paying for the bond or the lady that's paying for the bond, and they pass away
Mm.
and they don't have cover in place, and now that family is left without a hope. They've just lost their loved one, and now they've lost their hope. So can you imagine what kind of a strain that puts on the family?
It's really tragic and terrible to watch.
Yeah,
Even more so terrible when you get a call from a random person and like, okay, my husband just died. Can you check if he had anything in place? Because I can't find the documents for the life of me.
yeah,
I've been looking for them, but I can't find anything.
yeah,
Is there
yeah,
a system maybe you can use to check if
yeah,
he had something with other insurers?
yeah. So with that as well, right? So legally, you need to have something called a power of attorney,
Okay.
right? So make sure that you've got that in place, especially if you guys are married, if you've got assets together, you've got things like your bond, you've got you want to know access to basically your personal, your financial files. It's important to have a power of attorney between the husband and wife, because
Okay.
you cannot legally go and check if that person had a policy unless you've got authorization from the person who has power of attorney.
Okay.
So I've had numerous calls like that. Now, unfortunately, sometimes they don't have, and
Power
I
of
can't
attorney.
assist them.
Hmm.
So I've got to tell, I need to speak to the person who has power of attorney, who's handling the estate. They need to give us authorization on a proper document to say that we can do a search for you. And then we've got to do a search, and we've got to send it to a company that we do a check with, and they check the documents before they can even give us the information. So you need to have that in place. So it's important to have the power of attorney between husband and wife. Also for your assets in terms of your banking and stuff like that, so they can access funds. But back to the bond situation, it's so important. You know, uh, the product, it's called a credit life policy. It is designed to be ceded to the bank for the bond.
Yeah.
It is basically ceded to the bank. So that means, uh, you know, yes, if I pass away, my bond gets paid off in full. If I get disabled, my bond gets paid off in full. Remember, you're still alive if you get disabled. So the remainder, whatever surplus is remaining, will get paid to you. Temporary disability, which means that I have not become permanently disabled. Maybe I've broken my hand, broken my leg, and I'm recovering. And then you've got
You
retrenchment
can't
cover.
work. You can't
You
work
can't work,
during this period.
but you need to have an income.
Yeah.
And then there's retrenchment cover. Now, I don't know if you recall COVID.
Yeah.
When COVID happened, I had clients calling me left, right, and center, and I promise you that we were able to save so many properties because they had this in place. Income protection, the temporary disability, which is also like an income protection, kicked in. It started giving them an income that they could pay their bond. Sadly, we had people that did pass away, and we were able to do payouts for them in terms of that. So it's important, guys. If you have, I always say to you, you're working to buy those things. Don't let them be lost when you are no longer around. You want it to be a legacy. So the only way to protect it is to make sure it gets paid off if you're not there, and to also make sure that you have a last will and testament in place, and that you understand the implications of estate duties and taxes. And I think that you're doing a good job with it as well. You'll be able to educate people, with the information that we've shared.
Yeah.
I think that's a whole new. It's an untapped, uh, pool of people that need to be educated. And because
yeah.
if you look at it, a lot of people just go in and trust the bank because it's a big financial institution, and it's
And
an exciting time.
yes, they've just promised.
You just sign it.
Yes, they've just promised to say, okay, Wendy, I'm giving you the house of your dreams. The house of my dreams is a four-bedroom house by the pool, that has a pool, sorry, by the ocean.
Right.
So I'm getting that. And
Yeah.
the bank is telling me that, Wendy, you qualify to get that.
And you're looking at the bank and thinking, this is my best friend. And, there's so much of frills around that and hidden agendas. And you're just signing, and you don't blame anybody because it's exciting.
Yeah.
So you're signing away and you're not realizing, this is something I should have queried. This is something I should need to have in place. This is something I don't need.
And most importantly, I think when we're getting into contracts, most people don't know that you can actually look up your contracts and then query the parts that you are not comfortable and have them changed.
Yeah.
Have them altered. We don't know that.
You can, yeah. So again, it comes back to the education point.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that we've not been educated in school. Can you imagine how different life would be if everybody in school learned about taxes, learned about banking, about their finance, how to plan, do a financial plan, how to budget? we'd have a whole different race of a whole different demographic of people that are, super, basically super financially educated and know how to plan for their future.
And it's the smallest things like understanding what financial impact having a savings account or having a check account has on you.
100%. Yeah.
And you get people taking or creating savings account and then end up doing a lot of transactions and having lots of charges on
Yeah,
their savings
yeah.
account because they didn't know that
Correct.
when you use the bank almost every other day you're tapping and Apple Pay would be the death of us. We're just clicking
Yeah, yeah,
on the side and paying with our phones
yeah, yeah,
with our savings account.
yeah. Just tap and pay.
We're tapping and paying and we're losing money with transaction fees. And I feel like we're not educated enough
Yeah, yeah.
about these things.
100%.
Yeah.
So we can always, I think it's our responsibility in the role that we have, to educate, and that is what you'll see. And if you, I mentioned this to you as well. If you go to my channel, you'll see it's all about education. It is there to help people. And it's not a one size fits all. You get people that will come onto your platform and say, just share the knowledge here that why don't you just make a video and share the secrets that you know or the tips that you know. It's not a one size fits all. You can't have these discussions with people
Openly.
online openly. You've got to have it privately.
Because another person in another circumstance will take that and apply it
Correct.
to their own
And
life.
it may not work for them.
Yes, because advice to a person who has a property and advice to a person who doesn't have property,
Correct.
it's not the same. Yeah.
So it's very important to understand that as well, because the people that really want to know the information and want to get the education and want to save money and want to do the right thing, they'll come to you. They'll be like, no problem, let me get your number, let me contact you. And there's some people out there, I promise you, that will be, they will contact you like, hey, send you a WhatsApp. Good morning, please share with me the tips on how to pay off the bond. And I'm like, okay, firstly, good morning. How are you? Let's introduce ourselves.
Hi.
I'm Wendy.
Yeah.
I saw your video on TikTok, but it's important as well that the right people will always take action. The people that want the information will always take action for it, right? And I think that's also very important as well. Dispensing education that is not fit for somebody that's not at the stage of their life yet. You've got to differentiate.
Yes.
And that is why the people that contact you and reach out to you directly are the people that really want that information. And that's the people that you've got to set up an appointment with them. It's not, financial matters are serious.
Yes, they are.
It's not something that you can just dispense, over any platform. So it's important to have that one-on-one conversation with the client and understand where they are in their journey, because it's a financial journey.
Yeah, it is.
Right? It's not just a pit stop that you're making here and you're going there. Because if you're taking out a bond, for example, it's a 20-year commitment. It's a long term. It's
different. It's different for each and every person because it's determined by different factors. How much you're earning, the size of the property,
Correct.
the price of
What
the
other
property.
debts they have.
Yes, other debts that you have.
Kids that they have.
It is custom to each and every person.
Yeah. So I think it's very important as well for that. So, when you're doing somebody's financial needs analysis, I always say this. Have a look at their bank statements. The bank statement will tell a story. You go through it with the client and you say, let's look at your expenditures. Let's look at where we can reduce your expenditure, because I've spoken to people who say, no, I can't afford to take out a savings right now, or I can't afford to take out a life cover right now. And we say, okay, no, let's have a look at your bank statement. And you go through there and you see the guy buys a lunch every single day from takeout. He's spending, just tapping around, going, and sometimes it's a small amounts that add up and become the biggest thing, expenditure. So you can literally go to the bank statement. You can say, hey, let's look at this, let's reduce this. You've got Showmax, Prime, Netflix, DSTV, all of these things. How many do you watch at one point? No problem. What you use the most? I use Netflix and I use DSTV the most. Okay, let's remove these two. And you end up coming to a point where you say, I've saved you about 1,300 or 1,200 rand on your bank statement just by looking at it. It's just little lifestyle changes that you have to make, So
setting, I guess it's a matter of setting your priorities straight
100%.
and creating
Discipline.
goals.
And being disciplined about it.
Yeah. Saying, okay, I want this. How do I achieve this? And I guess that's where a financial advisor comes to play,
100%.
whereby you get to sit down with the client, discuss the short-term and medium or long-term goals,
Yeah.
and speak to, okay, you're saying 5 years from now,